Hey guys, Dacia Denise here. I went to the Muter Museum and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Unfortunately, photography and video were prohibited in the main gallery, which is where the specimens and skulls were. So with that prohibition, I decided to show you guys my own creepy collection. This video will have two parts. The first part is the part you're getting ready to watch, part 1. I am going to show you my skull and skeleton collection. It's not very huge, but I love skulls. I've been collecting them actively for the past 10 years, although I've got my first skull and my first taste of the love of skulls about 20 years ago. Part 2 would be medical curios that I've collected over the years. Again, not a big collection, especially when Tacoma Underground, the place where I got my medical curio stuff, is now closed. I'm really sad about that. That was my favorite store. Anyway, it's basically my bathroom decor, and I've got little creepy details here and there. Anywho, on to part 1. The first skull is the skull I received 20 years ago, around 1995. It's a wax candle. It looks to be, from the damage I see, looks like it's black all the way through. It's been through a lot of moves and a lot of jostling, as you can see, but it's still intact. When I received it from the guy I was dating at the time, I did not want to light it. He's like, why don't you light your candle? I'm like, no, because then it'll ruin the skull. So I've never lit it, and I still have it 20 years later. Next is a skull given to me by one of my dear friends. He is from Kansas City, Missouri, and there was some curio store there, or thrift store, or whatever. Anyway, he bought me this, and I was quite surprised. Unfortunately, I have to get this guy fixed, because look, oh, somebody broke his jaw. I do like this skull, especially since it was a gift from a dear friend. So here's the jawless, broken jaw skull. Next is a skeleton, or skull with a body, I should say, also broken. My nephew gave me this little guy. Oh gosh. He was a bobblehead until something got knocked loose inside. Now he has no neck. I do want to get it fixed if it can be fixed, but either way, I'm going to keep it. It still looks cool even if he no longer bobbles. Next is the crystal head skull, which many of you are already familiar with. But here it is. And on the bottom, I labeled it Everclear 190 proof. And you see I marked this in 2012. Quick story about that. I used to, of course, have the Crystal Head vodka in here, and of course that's long been gone. But I had to buy Everclear, not to drink, but I had to clean my vaporizers or something. I forget why I bought it, but it was definitely not to drink. It's 190 proof. I smelled it. It smelled like gasoline. So I was like, oh no, I'm not ingesting that. So I said, instead of having the boring, normal Everclear bottle, I'll put them in this skull. My nephew comes over, sees this. He's legally aged to drink, don't worry. He drank almost the whole bottle. In fact, I think some of it still left here. I had it up to here, and you see how much Everclear is left. He drank this whole bottle thinking it was vodka. When I saw that it was empty and I asked him, did you drink this? He's like, yeah. And I said, you know this was Everclear.
Oh, I was wondering why it was so strong and why I got so fucked up.
So I guess apparently labels don't matter. More bottles that used to have alcohol in them. My uncle got me these skulls. They had tequila by a brand called K-A-H. At first he bought me this tiny one. He gave it to me and I said, oh, I really like that. So cute, thank you. He's like, you know, I have 3 bigger ones. They're yours if you want. Hell yes! I'm going to show you the designs on these because they are very nice. I'm sure you can just go get a bottle of tequila, but hey, these were free and they're cool. And I like them. Here's the bigger one that had white tequila in it. Here's a yellow and red one. Probably had the gold tequila in it. That's what I'm guessing. You can see the fire in his eyes. And a kick-ass devil. Yeah, I like this one. I like all three, but I like the fire and the devil. And last, I don't know what type of tequila this would be. A dark tequila, perhaps? Or maybe. I'm thinking dark tequila. You know, of course, this is my favorite because it's black. It's got the markings and the drawings, and it's got more skulls in his eyes. These next two skulls were created by an artist in England named Dan Stocks. I got him off Etsy, and he doesn't have much on there now, but he does do custom work. So I'll show you the skulls I bought from Dan Stocks. This is a little skull, but yeah, it's just like a baby. Big eyes, little nose, no teeth. And this one is a skull of a teenager, about 13 years old. You can see the eyes are still big. The teeth are visible but smaller, and of course the skull is smaller too. He paints these all sorts of colors. I decided to go with the bright green, so I had to change it up a bit instead of having all my skulls in white. This skull was made by another artist, James Gregory, called James Gregory Art, and it's a heavy guy. He weighs about 5 or 6 pounds. I love it. I didn't pay much for this. I think I paid maybe $125, which is nothing. I mean, thing's heavy. It looks like a real skull. Really cool. This guy here is an anatomical model. I wanted something more detailed to practice my artwork on the human body. And you see he moves and twists and whatever. The models they sell for artists, you know, the ones that are wood and you could pose them all sorts of things, those are cool, but I wanted something with bones. If you don't see these at an art store, you can just go to a medical anatomical place, places where they sell teaching supplies in medicine. So this is where I got him. Very useful for drawing, in my opinion. Even the skull's a little more detailed. You can see his spine. Feet. Very helpful in my opinion. I find this more helpful than the wooden models you get from an art store. Next up is this guy.
Hello, YouTube.
I'm thinking I'm naming Vinny or something. I haven't named him yet. This was a free gift. My sweetheart was walking in the neighborhood and someone was having a yard sale and they were giving this guy away. So he brought it home to me and I said, okay, yeah. I usually have it hanging next to my window. This is Vinny. There's his name, Vinny, or I'm going to call you Vincent.
That'll be fine.
These are from Zeds Zombie Ranch. They're candle holders and they're made out of steel. This one, they're kneeling but slightly different positions. You can see the base here. Skull and crossbones. Very well made, especially the rib cage. And here's the other guy kneeling. I tell you, I respect all sorts of artists, but I definitely respect sculptors. I don't know how y'all do it. I tried pottery and sculpture, and I failed massively. So y'all have my props. I don't know how you do this. These are candle holders, and I don't want to mess them up with real candles, so I'll just put electronic candles up there, and then when I'm done with it, I switch them off, and they still stay handsome. Last three pieces are not skulls or skeletons, but they are part of my creepy collection. First is an urn. This is a real urn. We danced with urns in one performance where it rested on our heads. And I was like, okay, if we're going to dance with urns, I might as well get me a real urn, especially since, if I die, y'all can cremate me and you don't have to purchase an urn. I will fit in here. I checked the specifications and all. For those of you who may dance with an urn, especially on top of your head, don't get a real urn. At least don't get one this size. When I performed with this urn, I had a little trouble keeping it on my head. In fact, it almost fell at one point, but it didn't hit the ground, it didn't fall or anything. Please make sure it's not too big nor too heavy. I mean, this is only a pound and you think it's a pound. That's not very much, but when you're putting it on your head, it's a challenge to keep it up there. The last two creepy items are boxes made by Pippin Wix. I think she does awesome work. Here's one box. It's a round box. It is leather. And she puts like monster eyes and teeth into her work. And I think that's just so awesome. This one I keep my bendies in. Some of my bendies. The ones that'll fit. I keep that round box in my bedroom, and this second box I keep in the living room next to my skulls. It's got another eyeball, as you can see. It's got the leather, and it's a good size box. I just keep stuff in it. These boxes aren't expensive either. I think I paid $50 per box. It sounds pricey, but these are handmade and they have leather, and $50 is not a lot of money when you're talking about an artist actually creating their work and selling it. I jumped on that deal and she still has items for sale. I will definitely leave her link below. That's it for part 1, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for part 2 and you get to see my bathroom. TTFN, love and shimmies. Have a good one.